Contact frequency. The first dream. Rural New Mexico. Marina is 7 years old. There is a kind of silence that is not the absence of sound. It is a presence. A living thing that settles between the walls of a bedroom, that darkens the air, that raises the hair on your arms even in the heat of summer. Marina had known this silence since she was 7 years old. She never told anyone, not because she was afraid no one would believe her, but because it felt like it belonged only to her. The Reyes family home sat on the edge of a small town in rural New Mexico, far enough from the city that the nights were genuinely dark. Past the backyard, an open field stretched as far as she could see. At night, with no moon, that field was an extension of nothing. The edge of the world. The first dream came on an ordinary Wednesday in March. It was not an ordinary dream. Anyone who has dreamed knows the blurry texture of those things, the slippery logic where suddenly you're at school but the school is also your grandmother's kitchen. This was nothing like that. It was sharp. More sharp than being awake, as if daytime reality were a slightly out-of-focus photograph, and this was the original negative, precise down to details she hadn't known existed. She was standing in a field, not the one behind her yard. This one was wider, flatter, and the sky above it was a color that Marina, at 7 years old, had no name for. It wasn't blue. It wasn't purple. It was something between the two, but with a quality those colors didn't have, as if the color itself were emitting something, as if looking at it were also hearing it on a frequency that didn't pass through the ears. She was not afraid. That was the strangest thing of all. Any 7-year-old standing alone in an unfamiliar field under an impossible sky should have been afraid. Marina stood in the middle of it and looked around with a calm that didn't feel like hers, or maybe it was hers, a version of herself she hadn't met yet. And then she realized she was not alone. They were not behind her. They were not in front of her. They were around her, not the way people stand around another person, but the way the air around you is around you. Present in every direction at once, without occupying space in any way that made sense. Marina didn't see them. She felt them. And then, without any mouth moving, without any sound traveling through the air of that impossible field, she simply knew something. We know that you exist. She woke up. 5:47 in the morning. The ceiling fan turning with its uneven whir. The smell of coffee from the kitchen. Everything exactly as it should be, and yet the world felt slightly different, like a painting where someone had adjusted the light source just a few degrees, not enough to name the change but enough to feel it. Marina lay still for a long time. Then she got up, went to school, got 2 questions wrong on her math quiz, and said nothing to anyone. But she thought about that sky for weeks. Color with no name. The presence that had known she was there. And some part of her, a quiet, certain part, was already waiting for it to come back. The language. Years pass. Contact deepens. Marina grows up inside it. The dreams came back. Not every night, that would have been unbearable, or maybe easier because it would have created a routine. Instead, they returned irregularly, unpredictably, sometimes weeks apart, sometimes on consecutive nights. Marina never knew when the next one would come. She was 10 when she realized she was learning something. It wasn't a language in any sense she understood. There were no words. It was more like what happens when you look at someone's face and simply know what they're feeling before they speak, that pre-verbal recognition that arrives before conscious thought. But more complex. As though that recognition could carry not just emotions but entire concepts, histories, structures. In the dreams, they showed her things. The first thing they showed her was distance. Not distance like 2 miles to school, distance as a quality of the universe. They would place her in the middle of something immense. Immense was too small a word. She would see, not with her eyes, with something behind her eyes, the expanse between stars, between galaxies, between things for which no word existed. And she would feel how much of that distance they had crossed to reach her. Marina would wake from those nights with a vertigo that lasted for hours. 12, she started drawing. Not describing the dreams in words, she'd tried that and found the translation destroyed something essential, like photographing a flame and trying to warm your hands on the photo. Instead, she drew shapes. Patterns that seemed to start as familiar geometry and continue past where familiar geometry went. Her art teacher thought she had an unusual gift. Her mother, who was also her math teacher because the town was that small, examined the notebooks with an expression Marina couldn't read. Not worry. Not pride. Something more like recognition. 14, she asked them who they were. Not in words. In that language she'd been absorbing without realizing it, intention and image fused into something with no name in any human tongue. The answer that came back was too long and too complex to fit in one night. She woke with the maddening sensation of having tried to hold water in her hands. But one piece stayed. The feeling of something very old looking at something very new. And the emotion that accompanied it was something Marina spent days trying to name. Curiosity. They were curious about her. Not like a scientist studying a specimen, warmer than that. But more like affection. Though it was both. Though it was things she had no words for. 16, the dream was different. She was in the usual field, under the usual impossible sky, when the presence condensed, not into a shape but into an attention. Focused. Direct. She felt it as gentle pressure at her temples and in the center of her chest. And then came something very much like a question. The sensation of someone pointing toward a horizon and raising an eyebrow. When? She understood immediately. They were asking when she would be ready for a different kind of contact. Contact outside the dreams. Something cold moved down her spine. Not exactly fear. The word that came was solemnity, the feeling before you do something there's no coming back from. In the dream, she didn't answer. She woke with her heart racing, staring at the ceiling, and thought about the difference between receiving something and being ready for it. The dreams continued. The question didn't return. But Marina knew it was still out there, waiting. Somewhere outside of time. She moved away for college. Studied astrophysics, a choice she couldn't fully explain, except that there was a logic to it that only made sense when she thought about impossible fields and skies with nameless colors. She built a life, coursework, friendships, late nights in the lab. Normal things. And then, when she was 23, the dreams stopped. A month passed. Then 3. Then 6. No field. No presence. No sky with an unnameable color. She began to wonder if she had missed her window. If that question, when, had expired unanswered, and the silence was the answer she'd given by default. The idea followed her everywhere. And then, in the 7th month, something changed. Not in the dreams. In the air. She felt it first on the university shuttle. A Tuesday afternoon, phone in hand, a paper open on the screen she wasn't reading. A shift in the composition of things. Like the pressure change before a storm, felt in the body before the sky shows it. At the back of her neck, a tingling. Physical. Real. The same quality of presence she had learned to recognize when she was 7 years old. When? Coming back. Not as a voice. As a condition of the air. Marina got off at the next stop. Stood on the sidewalk. Looked up at the patch of sky between the buildings. She answered. Not in words. In that other language. I'm ready. She went home. Slept without dreaming. But for the first time in 7 months, she slept without the weight of waiting. 'Cause waiting and knowing the wait is almost over are entirely different things.